future is built largely by engineers and designers with the talent and skill to take an idea and turn it into the products and services that enhance life for all of us. Great ideas come from individuals and from gigantic corporations, but the big companies have significant advantages. Scale matters, and the meme of the long hours and high-stress world of the startup is based in reality. But does it have to be? What if individuals and small firms had access to the same powerful engineering tools used by multinational corporations and were freed from the constraints of limited capital and a modest headcount? That's the promise of cloud-connected engineering software. And I had a very interesting conversation with 4 experts in the field. Take a look. JJ, we've known simulation's been around for a long time with large, sophisticated engineering firms. So if you're Boeing or your Airbus or your General Motors, essentially, you could, to a certain extent, break free from that design, build, test, and sort of grind your way forward with multiple expensive iterations and go to simulation. And for a long time, if you're a smaller firm, you're still trapped in that build it, break it kind of model, because simulation took too much money, too many people to make this thing work. What are you seeing in terms of the migration of simulation software, such as your own, sort of down market, down to smaller firms?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Simulation has been around for a long time. And it's made its way into the development process. So, most products these days, especially when you talk about those big corporations, the Boeings, the GMs, products are all designed using simulation software. You build, you test virtually, and then you do your final confirmation at the end. The industry that you see this the biggest in is in the automotive industry. Those crash tests that you see on television are not crash tests, they're crash verifications. They know exactly how those cars are going to deform, how far the engine's going to enter the compartment in a 45 mile per hour head-on collision. That's all known because of the virtual prototyping.
Are we looking at a type of technology now that lets students, essentially, or trainees come out of programs and be productive faster than they were before?
Absolutely. I mean, with our academic program, we are seeing the bar and barrier to entry just get lower and lower and lower with simulation. And it's really interesting to see that happen before your eyes. 10 years ago, we saw it happen with CAD. And, you would be hard up to find even a high school nowadays that isn't using a CAD tool in some of their programs. And simulation is following right behind now. When I first joined ANSYS about 8 years ago, we were really focused on undergraduate education. Master's engineering programs have been teaching with simulation for many years. And we've seen that barrier, go down further and further. And now it's very hard to find an undergraduate engineering program that's not teaching essential simulation skills. But the very cool thing is we're actually already seeing that start to happen in high schools now.
Mark, you're at the center of this at AWS here, is that we always assumed that this would happen for the big boys, and that this kind of this democratization we're talking about would be unaffordable for smaller players.
Right now, as we're recording this incredible session, I'm in Vietnam. And if you think about what Vietnam as a country has been over the past 20 years, it's an incredible entrepreneurial ecosystem. But with the advent of the cloud and the capabilities of building and hooking into that enormous just ecosystem of technology, compute, storage, database, data warehouses, artificial intelligence, they've been able to build incredible technologies, incredible businesses, startups from the ground up, because the cloud has enabled that. And I see it as in all the places I've traveled, whether I'm in Argentina, Kenya, Morocco, India, all over the planet, the cloud has been an enabler for startup activity.
Robin, how much has the ability to take software like this and use it from anywhere, from the back room, from the from your home? How much does that let you innovate compared to the traditional way to do it?
You don't have to buy EV hardware, and that was, as you said, guys, the first boundaries that we faced as a small company, and moreover located in Corsica, because there is no big industry here. It's more, let's say, a countryside area, and we have not the ability to just go to a local supplier, ask for advices. We have to rely on our own and maybe find some people to get advices. But it was more located in Paris, as you said, because everything is centralized around the big city, and it's not so easy for businesses outside these big cities to get all the same services. And here it was really impressive because all the different interaction that we had to set up all the simulations in the cloud, the different server installation, etc. It was all done by internet. Nobody came in Corsica to set up anything because we just didn't have to. And as you said, with the different starter program from AWS and ANSYS, we were able to access the same quality of hardware, but without engaging any money.